Hello, everyone. My name is Marketta Sims. I am here to take you on the journey of recovery and spirituality through my journey of life. A person that believes in that you should give yourself the grace and mercy as well as you give other people the grace and mercy. So, little Marketta had to go through life thinking that she had to put a cape on. And I had to recover from that part of my life because I always thought that I had to be that strong person and be that in it. And I've learned that through that process that it's okay to not be okay because it ended up me having 13 years of incarceration behind my family dynamics of domestic violence and people in my household that were drug induced and alcoholics. But when people think that that don't affect the family dynamics, it does because we become the cover up people, we become the enablers, we become the people that want to save face and try to. And there's so many addictive behaviors that go with it that makes you start doing addiction type of things and mannerisms. So you have to be careful when you think that you don't touch the other people and components that's in your family dynamics because it also makes a harder life for them as well because in turn we have to be that shero, hero, or whatever that may be at that point in time because our family is not afforded to the correct resources and help that's needed when you're in poverty induced crime spaces. Um, as a woman, now I have went through the incarcerated system and being formerly incarcerated, it has trauma. I had trauma on top of trauma and not taking those healing spaces can be traumatizing all over again when coming back outside into society. So in turn, I came back to a society thinking that I did 13 years. My family dynamics should have changed by now. But my family did not change. I only changed. And it was for the best of me so that I can be the mother that I needed to be for my children. I end up with 90 days house arrest and I was with my auntie, may she rest in peace. Um, she made me feel less than a woman and made me want to go back into incarceration. And when you've been through a carceral state of your mind state and nobody is there to support you when you come home, you are impacted in such a way that it can make you real vulnerable. So you're open and susceptible to all type of activity because of the nature of the beast. When somebody else having you doubled up, which is homelessness in itself, because a lot of people think that you got to be on the street or you got to be in some type of shelter or something. That's still a shelter because that's somebody else's home, and at any given time they can put you out because they have the lease. They are the leaseholders for that place. If they get aggravated with you at any given time, you out of there. So me in turn doing the 90 days of being on house arrest, and once I cut my band to get out of that space, that harmful space, I entered a shelter because I refused to die within myself. I had to recover myself because wasn't nobody else gonna help me, and I had to stop being afraid of not helping myself because recovery and spirituality is strong when you have to recover your mind, body, and soul. And recovery comes in many stages, and it's not just only with substance abuse. It's also the homeless factor. It's also the gambling piece. It's also shopping sprees. And why do we do these things and why these addictive behaviors come into play? It's because of underlying issues. If we don't take care of our underlying issues, we'll never conquer all that we need to conquer because we haven't conquered ourselves within to let that spirit die within so that we can know our triggers and whatnots so that we can grow from it. Those experiences and lessons are so strong and vital to everybody's livelihood. And when you say the 12 steps apply to all types of areas in your life, not just in AA, NACA. It's an EA, it's an anonymous, it's in all type of numbers. So, because it applies to everyday life and it's part of growth and development. And it makes sure that you realize that some type of addiction or something that happens in your life has made you realize that you was in a denial space, and now that you can recognize those situations, you can fix what is needed to be reconciled with. As I grew in shelters, I became whole again because I recognized those things that needed to get out of my head and recover myself again. So when I went to one shelter, I end up in another one because if anybody knows about being in a shelter, some shelters require you to pay rent and stuff. So if you don't have anything, how can you pay rent? So I end up in Grace House by Grace and Mercy, and they didn't want any rent, so I was able to actually make sure that I had somewhere stable to stay in Grace House. And when I went to Grace House, I got the proper care that was needed. My first 30 days, no working. I had to get my mental health together, which is at the university professionals. They had therapists come out there, and it was very well needed. And it got me grounded on my feet to where I needed to be because little Marquita had things that bound her to her family obligations, and she had to recover from putting that cape on her back and thinking that I gotta save everybody where I needed to save myself. And I was only a child, and as a child, you take on so much and you can only do so much. Um, I learned a lot through this process, and I just want people to know that I feel better now that I have recovered that inner me. And I told my child that's within me, I apologize to you today because I couldn't keep you safe. That felt so good because I didn't know that I was fighting with that. And I didn't know that those things existed until I recovered myself again. And once you recover in myself, the spirituality of my higher power that be made sure that I walked with him through this journey all the way and I kept him first, however it may be. If it whatever it may be that holds you to that state, because you know it's something greater than you that helps you through this journey. So I just know that it made sure that I was where I needed to be and I stand in my purpose to be of service. And as I grew my journey, I also end up in the advocacy room because they had somebody from CCH to come and talk to us about advocate. And I never thought that I would be the staunch advocate that I am today because I was not thinking that who gonna hear me? Who gonna listen to me? Little old me by myself, ain't nobody gonna listen to me. But I roar like a lion now today for y'all. Y'all just don't even understand how good that feels to know that you can have a visual impact on people's life and life circumstances as you know now. I appreciate that through this journey of dysfunction, um, abuse, misuse, and confuse, that I could be recovered and stay safe in my own will, and I could say no to people and not feel guilty about saying no. I can also take back my power and create in me a legacy that is needed, which is no matter what you trial or error that you may go through, that you don't have to stay stagnant. I grow from these experiences of dysfunctionality, domestic violence, abuse. I am creating spaces for other people to grow and learn with me. I'm that woman that I can be today. I don't have to sit here and allow nobody to tell me that I can't do anything because I'm doing everything and more, even though that I have a background, even though that I had been put down because the stereotypes that you bring into society, you will be back and woo. But through the homelessness and the fact of that only the strong survive. Because if you don't allow yourself to grab a hold of your higher power and then grab a hold of yourself and let yourself know that you are worthy and you are great within, you will always fall behind the eight ball of what society says. Because society can't dictate how you move just because my past is not my future. It can't dictate who I am. I am not my number. I am not that abuse. I am not that person that hurt, harm, and danger me. I am not homelessness. Homelessness can't defeat me. I've been through a lot of wrinkles that people wouldn't even understand and be like, how are you still standing? Um, and coming home, relationships with all the characters of reuniting with my children is a hard piece. So I had to recover from not being a parent to being the mother that I need to be and standing firm in that. That's a recovery in itself as well, because recovering that whole mindset of you being in a place where they tell you you're nothing, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, and to come from under all of that pressure and recover yourself and say, I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am this, I have this. Give yourself them affirmations on a daily basis and create this space for safeness. And it's not easy, especially when you don't have a great support system. And that's why it's very important to give yourself that grace and mercy that you give people on a daily basis because people think that, oh, well, that's just natural. Do you got to tell people no, but you have to give that same grace, mercy to yourself because if you don't, then you defeat all that you have given out. Because whatever you can give out, you have to also have within self. Because how can I give something that I don't have? If I don't pour into myself and make sure that this cup runneth over to allow myself to be loved, to be caring, to be the friend that I need to be the things that I wanted to be in life. I can't give you what I don't have. And so, in captivating anything that you want in life, removing barriers and removing those stigmas that society put on you, that just because I was homeless or just because I was this, that means that you have to stay in that character. No, I don't have to stay in that character. I go above and beyond to recover all of that. So that's when you say recovery, it can go a lot of ways. And in recovery, you have to also know that that mind, body, and soul must align with all that you try to achieve. Because with greatness, you have to first make great sacrifice. then you have great accomplishments. And I feel that that's what I have done for myself because I knew that I have children out here that needed me most, and that if I didn't take those chances on my life to give myself back what I well deserved, how can I ever give it back to people that I love? And today I'm selfless and not just selfish. And when I say selfless, because I allow myself to be used as a vessel to people that can't advocate for themselves or can't do the things that I do. I was given my special skills for a reason so that I can be that voice. I can be that person to initiate the cause and be there for the underdogs. I want to be that person. So, because I know that pain, that guilt, that shame that society has laid upon us and made sure, like, well, you're a crackhead or you this or you that, you can't do this and you can't do that. But I'm today saying you can do whatever you put your mind to. The greatness is within you, and nobody can take that joy away from you or that pride to incorporate greatness because we are greatness. We just have to find it within ourselves to initiate that fire so that we can have that passion to allow ourselves that space to do activate what we need to do. I'm activating everything within me that takes all of me because I left behind some great winners and everybody that I have come from being formerly incarcerated with are doing great things and I'm still marching for the cause because so many great people have been lost in this tremenda that um, society says that we don't supposed to be here, we don't supposed to do this and that, but different circumstances for certain people. And in my culture, it's shunned about getting help. And if I wouldn't have broke those chains of dynamics, I wouldn't be standing before you right now today and being the woman that I am, which is a staunch advocate for all areas for underdogs because I'm there. If you marching down the street, I'm there. If you want us to be in conferences, talking with the governor, talking with anything that I'm there because I feel that that's our right. And if I don't utilize them where I have the chance to, we can lose out on that. And I don't want nobody left behind without the power of knowing they not alone. Because to be alone out here and going through your journey is a very, very hard thing. And you can't recover without no type of support. So when your advocacy and your things of that nature, don't never take that for granted. Don't never take people that's out here on the battlefield for you and boots to the ground because those people are taking out their time of the day to make sure that people that can't stand for themselves can stand for something because they are out there on the field making it happen on an everyday basis. Nobody is left behind. I love everybody. I want people to know they recover and make sure that in your spiritual walk that you stay the course, whether it be cheer, high power, whatever that makes you keep going that great knowledge, because you are whatever you put your mind to. Know that you can conquer whatever fear or agility that comes your way and try to be a barrier or aspect in your life. You have this wholeheartedly in your hand, and it's greatness in all of us. We just have to just tune into it and make sure that you are great within yourself when you touch that greatness. And don't ever lose yourself to the point where when you get a little control, that you humble yourself. And that's what I do on a daily basis because I stay humble because I remember those days that I lived through, which is the hardships and the things that I went through. which is hardships. So I don't want to ever have to feel that pain again. So I stay humble because just like I can get back into these shoes and look good, I can go right back to that madness. So I have to be careful and tread lightly and make sure that I don't offend or create an atmosphere of chaos for my constituents and who I work with, and making sure that everybody get a piece of the pie because it's enough for all of us to eat out here. And I just want to know in every walk that I walk that I did it in a humble and graceful way. So giving yourself that grace and mercy is a must. Trusting yourself and knowing that you don't have to fall back on what you did in the past is another. Communication is key. Communicate what you are needing in your life, and it can help take you a long way because communication has a lot of aspects of our life because we don't communicate that we need help a lot. We always try to hold it down and think that I'm strong, I got this, I got this. No, sometimes we have to reach out and touch somebody and say, it's okay not to be okay. Because it's not every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows, but we can create rainbows out of that little rain cloud. That rain cloud is only lasting for overnight, but you can create some great rainbows. Um, I just want the betterment for community. So when I do the things that I do, like I'm a certified domestic violence counselor now, and even though I went through that realm of study, but it enhances my skills so that when people is in that situation, I can better assist them and make sure that they okay. Life be life. I'm a certified doula. I got a lot of certifications, y'all. I'm a woman of many hats, and I just want y'all to know that I wear 'em well because I be doing so much in my life that sometimes I have to take a seat and just let that stuff go. Um, I'm a woman that has went through many feats, but I didn't let it defeat me. Um, Creating the time for myself, self care is a must. You must care for yourself because without that, we will destruct at all times because that burnout, stress, and fatigue is always another factor. So I just want y'all out there in TV land to know that you got a friend in me, and I'm just making it happen for everybody because I recovered what they thought I couldn't recover, which is myself, mind, body, and soul, the whole person. I didn't throw myself away. I made sure that I whatever they dictated for me, it didn't happen to me, and I didn't let them create my lifestyle that I live now. I went above and beyond to make it even make them crazy because it's like I'm doing everything to try to destroy her, and she's still rising. And that's when your spirituality has to kick in, and you gotta pray or whatever you think that you need to do as your higher power or whatever that you may believe in at this point in time, and make it accountable and make it count for something. Stand for something or fall for anything, and know love you and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Well, thank you, Marketa. I really appreciate you taking time. Go ahead and if you have a glass of water or something like that, feel free to grab a drink and take a deep breath. And while you take a moment to catch your breath, we're going to open it up for some questions that people might have. And so, to streamline the process, we're going to invite people to share their questions by typing them either into the question and answer feature, which is on our Zoom bar at the very bottom there. If you're able to open that, if you're having difficulty finding that, feel free to go ahead and ask your questions using the chat feature. And then I'll go ahead and read those questions aloud so that we can start asking you some questions, Marquita, and just having you kind of respond, to what people are interested in knowing a little bit more about or hearing more wisdom from you about. So I'll go ahead and get us started if that's okay. And I mean, one of the questions that came up for me and while you were talking is how does your spirituality affect your advocacy work with the Chicago Coalition to End Homelessness? How does it affect that? What does that look like for you day to day?
Well, I take my higher power to the levels of no return because I take it with me wherever I go because I know in this field of advocacy, um, it can be difficulty because you're going to have opposing viewpoints and you got to take the bitter with the sweet in advocacy. You cannot just be like, we're going to get results instantly. It's not going to be like that. You're going to have people that's going to fight and bite the bullet. And so I have to make sure that all things that I do, like I said, I keep the higher power first and walk through them doors. And I pray before I go. Anytime I go to Springfield or any Bloomington, I'll be everywhere. So I I be on TV, I be on stuff, so I have to pray before I go out there. So, because I'm gonna have some people that's gonna come against me, and I gotta be prepared for even the worst of the worst situations where people gonna be very angry because they can't, argue the viewpoint of what I'm talking about. So I just have to be prepared and making sure that I I keep that upfront and personal for myself so I can align with what I need to do.
Mhm. That's helpful. And another question that came through here is this is a very Ignatian question too. Is tell us about your higher power or your image of God, and how has that changed from the time you were a little girl to when you were struggling with some of the things that you shared to the woman that you are today? How has that image of higher power or even that relationship with your higher power changed over time?
Well, I always was. I grew up in a church home and stuff like that, so therefore, I've never not believed, but I felt that churches are more religious, so I had to remove myself from religion and be more spiritual and take it upon myself as I grew and learned different things and aspects of the Bible and stuff like that. So now I'm more spiritual and I'm in tune with my higher power. And I know that it's something greater than me that been walking with me through all these journeys and everything that I walked through because I didn't do this by myself. Because the stuff that I done went through, half people would be telling me they would have killed themselves and did a lot of things. So I know that it's nothing but that grace and mercy that the higher power has for me. So that I just implant that inside of me because I don't have to be in a church just to know that there's something greater than me that keeps me. And I pray and I stay fast and I make sure that I I don't have to just follow everything because, like, when people feel, that's what people try to be prejudgment of people. So I don't try to do like that. Like, oh well, the pastor is the pastor, and I still just keep my own stride of, what I'm saying. They human. At the end of the day, they're not the higher power. So therefore, they're human. So I have to just grasp a hold of that at all times and stay humble because just like them, stuff can happen in and out of my life.
Mhm. That's beautiful. It reminds me of one of the values that we have at ISP, which is that lived experience matters. And really, what we mean by that is that it's in our lived experience where our Creator meets us. It's not that we have to go somewhere to find God or meet God. It's that our God is in the midst of who we are. If we but pay attention, if we but slow down and just gather the graces of that moment and really reflect on, huh, where is my higher power in the midst of this difficult situation, or even in our joys? Diane Gallagher has a question, and this kind of builds off of maybe what you just shared. When and how did you specifically experience your spiritual recovery? Were you part of a program? Was there a specific person who influenced you? But when did that kind of come about? This sense of a spiritual recovery for you?
When I went to Grace House and I actually went to Emotion Anonymous, that was my spiritual awakening for me because I actually got in tune with who Marquita was. And to get in tune with who Marquita was, I also got in tune with, because they use the 12 steps as well. So that's what I'm saying. Recovery is in everyday life. And so to do them 12 steps and work those steps, it made me realize and have awakening to how to really align myself and making sure that Marquita gonna be okay through everything that Marquita has endured. So that in tune had awakened my whole horizons of my emotions and me as a person and within myself, mind, body, and soul, and making sure that I create that safe space for little Marquita that was within me to let her know that just because things had happened to her, you know what I'm saying, now that I've grown, I'm able to apologize and meet her at the door to make sure that she's safe from then on and that um, I also can be okay with allowing that spiritual space for myself.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Um, there's another question here from Anthony, and it's I think a very real question of, are there times that you still feel overwhelmed? Do you sometimes feel frustrated? What do you do when nothing seems to be working out and challenges keep on rising or increasing? Talk to us about like who you are today, and what do you do with these challenges? What do you do with feeling frustrated, overwhelmed?
Okay, well, that's gonna happen. Life be life. First of all, I lost my son last year, and then I just lost my dad. So life gonna be life, and I still stay in the course. My dad just died like 3.5 weeks ago. So me being the person that I am, like I said, I'm spiritual. So that grounded me and prepared me better to be able to do the things I'm doing right now. I'm still advocating, I'm still pushing, you know what I'm saying, and I'm still working with my passion. Those things keep me afloat because without it, it's not Marquita. Because I feel like I'm standing in my purpose and being of service. And that's what I am, a light worker. I'm supposed to be doing this work, and this is what I do. And when I feel overwhelmed, then that's when I grace and mercy to myself, and I have to take those self care days where I can take a sabbatical, or I take me a minute and just, you know, get me together if I feel too overwhelmed. Like I went on a girls' trip, so I can just come back. You know, I endured a lot, so I went on a girls' trip. Just I was in North Carolina, so just take my mind off of everything that was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? So that I won't be just overwhelmed to the point where I just collapse my whole mind, body, and soul. So I have to, take some me time and
Mhm,
create that safe space for Marquita. I know
mhm.
that I can't do everything no more. Take off that cape and say, right now, it's just not the time. Take some time for Marquita and be okay. You know what I'm saying? That's what you gotta do sometimes. You can do so much. But when you feel that feeling coming up, then you know to step back. And then like some things I tell my organizations that I work for and be doing stuff for, I'll just be like, look, I can't do that right now. I need to take some me time. I can't I'm overwhelmed. I'm
Mhm.
feeling some type of way. I tell them now. I'm not afraid to say what I mean and mean what I say right now. Or tell them no.
That's good. That's good. And this is another question. It's kind of combining too. There's a question from Kevin here, and then I'll combine it with another one. Um, but you know, when what would you say to people tonight about the best way to support someone who's trying to create this spiritual space they need for recovery? So what would you say is the most important, especially for somebody early in recovery? And I think it bumps into Kevin's question, because Kevin's question, he asks, what are the most common set of circumstances for women that lead to relapse? And I don't know if those two kind of speak to each other or not, but they seem to kind of be getting at the same thing.
Well, for me, it is that's why like they have the rooms, they have support groups. Then you seek out that if you don't have a support system within your family dynamics, that's why I had to outsource. Strangers have been my best friends since I've been home. Those have been my gatekeepers. Like all my organizations that I be advocating for, they have been my 10 toes in the sand with me. They are there. If I need an ear, if I need to talk, they there. So that has grounded me. So find you some outreach, find you some people that, you know what I'm saying? It's always people out here. People gotta know that it's help. It may not be from who you think it's gonna be from. It be the strangest people that will reach out their hands to say it's okay to not be okay and talk to them and make them know that, you know what I'm saying, you ain't in this journey alone. So they don't have to feel like they have to relapse or whatever they may be, because if you had that system or you had a peer that had lived expertise that been through that same ringer, it's always good, because just like with AA and any NACA and anything else, if you got some peers that you like, because people want to belong. That's one
Mm.
thing about the human mankind. You want to belong. So if somebody say, I can help you in some kind of mannerism. It don't matter where the help coming from. Accept it today and stop putting pride before barriers and try to put up the walls. Because a lot of people put up walls because they're afraid, especially in my culture. They tell you not to get help and or you crazy or you this and that. And so I broke the lines of discrimination. Hey, look, I need this. This is something I need. And if without it, I'm going to be crazy or messed up, because not getting help is not help. And so I broke the chains of dysfunction that was in my lineage and made it renewed by breaking all them chains and of bondage of that chaos and creating a safe space for myself. So in that they got all type of women support groups and things of that nature, so women can get into it, and they got grief groups, all types of groups now. So just reach out and ask people where they'll tell you about these different groups and stuff, and then you can be in tune with whatever that you want to hold on to that can keep you from that uh, relapse phase.
Mhm. And just two more questions, and then we'll wrap up here. But in your presentation, you said we don't communicate that we need help. Um, can you say a bit more about this? Like, what is in the way of people communicating that they need help? And you talked about recovery in a lot of different aspects. You talked about it from the experience of homelessness. You talked about it from the experience of family. You talked about it from addiction. You talked about it from incarceration. You talked about it from abuse. But what gets in the way, if you're looking back at your own experience or you're looking at the experience of other people that you've spiritually walked with on their own journeys of recovery? What gets in the way of people asking for help?
Not pride, it's the normalcy of the family dynamics. If I do drugs, she do drugs, Coco do drugs, and all these people in my family dynamics do drugs. That's normal to me. What's normal to you might not be normal to me. And then so when I go outside that box and I see something different, like I go to your home and it might not be like that. So I don't know how to communicate that is that I really need help because I feel it's the norm. So it's not pride, it's normalcy. The normalcy that's brought up in a home makes it where people think that it's okay. That's what's happening is what is okay. And so when I see this normal practice of something in my home, just like um some women pray to like if you were seeing abuse all through your home, like everybody abuse everybody. And then so when you go outside and you do something different to somebody else, you don't even know it's abuse because that's something that you used to. And then so when you meet that person or you do something like you get a good man or something like that, you don't know how to handle that, so you don't know how to communicate that. Like I need actual help because this is all I've seen in my life. It's normalcy. Like I, as a clinician, it's kind of hard because like people is so like if I'm used to something all my life, like eating is all I know. And so then somebody take food from me and say, you can't eat no more. That is not normal for me. So I don't know how to communicate that. Teach me how not to eat or you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Teach me not to go through drug addiction or this and then it's underlying issues as well. Like underlying issues is whatever they're traumatized or troubled this person within their dynamics and it might made them hush matters where they felt that the elder was correct and I'm a child and I need to stay in a child's place because a lot of parents tell kids that and so they figure that it's okay whatever they're done or they tell them what's done in the house stays in the house. So now I don't know how to communicate that I need help or I need something from somebody because it's now it's leaking into my adulthood where I don't know how to properly communicate that this thing is going on and I need the actual help or the lineage or the groups or the anything that's happening within my dynamics.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Hmm. Well, last question, and I'm excited to ask this and see what your answer is. You recently graduated from Kennedy King College. What do you intend to do with your degree? What do you intend to do next? You're already doing a heck of a lot, but what is it that you're hoping to do or you're longing to do?
Well, I'm gonna be an up and coming business owner. Um, my business is called Success. Um, I'm also trying to get a non for profit up and running. So I'm in my non for profit, I will be the certified domestic violence counselor. I will also utilize my clinician techniques from being. I graduated with a dual degree, which is advanced social work and addiction studies. So I would be able to help them in a healing trauma circle, and if
Hmm.
need be, I want to make peer navigators and things of that nature. I'm just trying to be open to all aspects of life and stay within the community guidelines to help community and help heal community. I just want people to heal from all the trauma that has been upon us as all this poverty, trauma, and chaos. So I want in pain. So I want them to heal the whole person and not throw away the person anymore. I want them to be what they need to be so they can thrive to be great. So I'm gonna utilize everything that I have to build community and make sure that I give back what was freely given to me.